Hi, Dana here. Welcome to Sew Learn Create. If you're new to my channel, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos on sewing, crafting, and DIY projects. And if you're returning, thank you so much for joining us today. Today's project, we're going to be making cloth napkins. This one is a lunchbox size because it's kind of small. It's also a companion project for our reversible napkin ring holders, and I'll put the link to that video in the description box below. So you can make your napkin ring, make your cloth napkin that's double-sided, and slip it in. So let's get started. In today's project, our cloth napkins, you'll just need a few supplies for each napkin. This one is a smaller napkin for a lunchbox for a kid or something like that. The sample I'm going to make today, I'm using Christmas fabric, but you can use any kind of fabrics that you want. You need an 8-inch square of fabric, and for each napkin, you need 2 of those. So I have a stack because I wanted to make 4 of them, but we're going to start with just 1. So you need 2 8-inch squares that are fabric. You could make one side one fabric and the other side, the back side, another fabric, so they're reversible, or I'm going to do mine in the same fabrics. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our fabrics right side to right side. And if your fabric has a direction on the print, then you want to make sure that you line those up the same way. So like my little stockings here, they all seem to go the same way. So I want to make sure that when I put my other right side up, that my stockings are going the same direction. So we're going to line them up. And we're going to use some of our clips to go around. I'm going to use my red and green clip system when I need to leave an opening on one side so I can turn my project. So I put my green clip on first, and then I leave a little space, and I put my red clip on. And to turn these cloth napkins, you don't need a lot of space, or that opening doesn't need to be big. So the green clip is where I'm going to start sewing. I'm going to stitch all the way around, and my red clip is where I'm going to stop, and that leaves that opening for me. Then I'm just going to clip all the way around, and we'll head to the machine. Now we're at the machine, and I'm using my 1/4-inch foot. Your 1/4-inch foot can be bought from most any machine. You just need to find out what type of foot you have, whether you have a low shank or a high shank. On the 1/4-inch foot, it has this guide which makes it nice and easy. You can do the same thing by using your regular machine foot and putting a piece of tape at your 1/4-inch seam allowance. And the seam allowance is always based from your needle out. That's where you base your seam allowance. So we're going to sew our napkin. We're going to start at our green clip. I'm going to move that, slide it into the machine. And remember, I'm going to stitch here starting where my green clip was, all the way around, stopping at my red clip. When we get to the corner, we're going to do our lift and turn, where we're going to leave our needle down in the fabric, lift our presser foot, turn our fabric, and then your fabric doesn't shift on your, and you have a gap in your seam. So we're going to go all the way around. These cloth napkins are also an eco-friendly project because you can wash your napkin and reuse it multiple times. They're great for lunch boxes where you take to work and you may or may not have access to a napkin. Then you know you always have one. I work in a school, so sometimes napkins that are available are not easy to get to. Cafeterias in the other end of the building, so I like to pack these in my lunch box, bring them home and wash them. So again, we're going to get to that corner, lift and turn, keep going all the way around. Removing our clips as we go. One last turn, and then when we get to our red clip, we're going to stop. So we're going to stitch a little bit. Then I'm going to remove that red clip, and I like to put my finger there to let me know where that was. And I'm going to back stitch a little bit to secure it. Now we're going to go back to the mat, and we're going to turn our napkin and press it. So back to the mat. Now we're back at the mat, and we've stitched all the way around our napkin here, and we've left this opening. So we're going to turn it right side out. But before we do that, we're going to clip our corners right down here, and we're going to clip across the corner diagonally, but we're going to stay really far away from that stitching. So it's a tiny little section that you're going to clip across, and you're going to do that on all 4 corners. And the reason you do this is to reduce that bulk in the corner so that your corners will actually turn out nice and pointy. So once you've clipped your corners, and find your opening again. There it is. And then you can turn it right side out. I like to stick my finger in, go to the opposite corner, get a good chunk, come out my opening, and then pull. It gives you a big chunk to grab a hold of, and it turns nice and easy. So turn it right side out. Trying gently so you don't pull your stitches loose. And then you're going to take a chopstick or something that's nice and pointy but not sharp, because you don't want to poke your stitches out. And you're going to go to those corners, gently poke them out so they're nice and crisp. And there's the other corner. That one. And there's our last corner. Now we're going to press our project, but before we do, because you have a long seam that is straight with 2 fabrics, if you take those and you put them in your fingers and roll, then that kind of makes that seam lay down. And then when you press it, you'll get a nice crisp edge. So both your fabrics, especially you would want to do this if you were using 2 different fabrics, so you didn't have one peeking to the other side. So I'm just going to roll, and then I'm going to press it. When you press it, you want to make sure that this opening, that fabric rolls inside, so when you go back and we top stitch this, it will catch that opening and make it closed. So we're going to press it. Pressing when you're sewing is a really good way to make your fabrics lay in place, so when you're stitching and actually doing the sewing, then things are where they're supposed to be. So always press your projects in between the steps. So now we're going to go back to the machine, and we're going to do a top stitch all the way around the outside edge of the napkin, and our project will be finished. So back to the machine. Now we're back at the machine, and the last step in this project is to do a top stitch real close to the outer edge all the way around. That secures your 2 fabrics together, and it also closes up this opening that we have right here. See, here's our opening. And so I like to start just above where my opening is. And when I'm doing a top stitch, I use the inside guide of my foot, and that gives me a nice even guide that I can keep my fabric next to. So we're going to go all the way around, back stitching just slightly when you start and when you stop. Top stitching helps secure things, 2 pieces of fabric together, and makes them lay nice, and top stitching is used in a lot of different projects. When you get to those corners, sometimes they don't want to go real easy, so just give them a little bit of a nudge and they'll usually keep on going. Using our lift and turn on those corners again, where your needle's down, lift your presser foot, turn, and then keep on going. by reducing that bulk, cutting those corners, it also helps your machine get through all that fabric. And we're back, and this is where we started, so we're going to come back and just stitch right over that stitching just a little bit to lock them in place. Back. I'm going to stitch across it a little bit and then do a little bit of a back stitch. Clip our threads, and now our project is complete. So our top stitching goes all the way around, and remember, this is a companion project for our reversible napkin ring holder. You can make these napkins in any size square. I used an 8-inch for this one, so it's kind of small, but you could use a 12-inch, which would be closer to a dinner napkin size. And then you just slip it into your napkin ring, and your project is done. And I will link in the description box, I'll put the link for the napkin ring holder. So, hope you enjoyed today's project and give it a thumbs up. See you in the next one. I hope you liked today's project, the cloth napkin, and if you did, be sure you give it a thumbs up and tell us you liked it. Also, we're trying out some new audio equipment. I got a lapel mic, so leave a comment below if the audio is better in this video than in past videos. We're working hard to make better videos for you every day. So, thanks for joining us, and I'll see you in the next one.